So the F-18A, guys, the aircraft that is the first Hornet that you can get, and I gotta be honest, it is the one that you should get because it is probably the most fun and probably the best F-18 you can get. And why is that? Well, the first thing, of course, it is the BR. It is a 12.3 aircraft, so it faces 11.0s all the time, which is amazing for such a fourth generation aircraft, right? The second thing is that it is not only that, although it has less power than the C models, it is actually the lightest one. And because of that, the flight model is very much a comparison between, like, for example, an F-16A and C. It's kind of the same, you know? The A becomes the better because it's lighter. So let's try to do some dogfights against some targets to see how it would perform. And can this thing actually beat the F-16A? Well, let's take a look. So at first here we tried against the F-14A. Well, the F-18 was made to actually substitute the F-14, so it was fitting that we would try to compare the two of them, especially because the F-18 has a higher, lower BR than the F-14A, right? So initially, my friend there tried to maintain a little bit more energy, and you can see that the problem is the same. The F-18, as we did, like, talked about yesterday, right? The F-18 always have kind of a shorter turn instantaneously, which means that you can get in the inner part of the circle, and with that, you can get kills very easily because of that, right? You have to maintain a thought that you are gonna lose a lot of energy, but you can turn better than most aircraft. And automatic deployment of flaps when you are turning helps a lot. But it's not like the F-14 cannot turn. Look at this. The F-14 is one of the best aircraft if you give it time. You know, the instantaneous turn of the F-14 might not be the greatest at the start of a dogfight because it will be swept with the wings and etc., right? But eventually it will be able to turn very well, even being very heavy, right? Here I did a mistake. Try to go for a head-on with the button of the AOA limiter off, you know, being there means very wobbly nose, made me get killed. We start again, now doing a different type of maneuver, kind of a sideways turn over here. Try to launch a missile just to keep him on his tail, on his toes, Jesus. How many tails does he have, right? But yeah, again, I'm being able to maintain, you know, the shorter part of the turn, you know, so I can maintain basically the inside of his circle. Of course, losing a lot of energy. He's maintaining better the energy. When I'm almost getting dropped by the actual, like, stall, I just put the AOA limiter off to be able to go down very quickly, and with that gain speed again. He's trying to kinda energy trap me, kinda, you know. He likes to do that, my friend, and because of that, you know, I have to be careful because this thing likes to lose a lot of energy when turning, so you do need to be careful. Although you have a very good, you know, thrust rate and acceleration, because of the amount of turn that this thing can do, it just loses a lot of energy, you know. So again, I mean, he's kinda almost energy trapping me over here a little bit. I'm very slow, as you see. I needed a little bit more AOA to be able to do that shot, but I didn't want to activate the AOA limiter off. So I just continue to do what I'm doing because I'm starting to gain a little bit of an advantage, which can be translated to winning, of course. But again, you gotta be careful. So see how the nose is just wobbling around, and it's very hard to control it when you are in these very, very low airspeeds. Again, it's something that the F-18 does. I mean, a lot of the aircraft do that, but the F-18 can get to those speeds so much that you normally will see these happening all the time. Eventually, I kind of miss a lot of shots there, but I get him just because I can push a little bit more inside the circle. Then we went for the F-16. This is an F-16A, of course, one of the best, if not the best turning aircraft in the game. It's kind of crazy how much this thing turns. And of course, it doesn't have the AOA limiter off button, so it's one lesser two that, you know, the F-16 doesn't have, but still, the F-18, it's not like you want to use those every single time. He's trying to do the same strategy here. We kind of go to head-on over here. Since I don't have a lot of nose authority when you are, you know, this low in airspeed, I just spread around the shots and eventually I get him. You know, I shoot very, like, quickly into the upwards part over here in this one. Just trying to do the same as I did with the F-14, trying to remain inside his circle so that I can be on his tail most of the time. Again, when you are in lower airspeeds, F-18, very hard to control. Try to use the AOA limiter off to go down again and gain speed again. Turn it off, you know, the button. And then we try to maintain a good amount of energy over here. I see that he's gonna do a kind of a turn here. Try to pull the AOA limiter to make him miss, which works. And I kind of do a Cobra over here. And I almost get him. You know, almost. Like I said, it's very hard to control this aircraft when it's this slow. And here, something that he wasn't expecting. He thought my nose was going to go down because of the speed. But I have the AOA limiter off button, and the F-18 loves to do low airspeed stuff. So I just go for it and I kill the target, right? So he was really surprised with that. He wasn't expecting it, and it's something that the F-18 can do very well, you know. Just pull out of nowhere a little bit more AOA limiter, AOA, you know, nose authority, and then you can get a kill because of that. He was first with the nose hot on me on that head-on, so I decided to just turn, you know, to the other side. Of course, using the AOA limiter off. I always do that when I'm trying to make the target miss a little bit in a head-on, because then I can just make a very, very obscene turn, basically, so that I can miss. Kind of my mistake there. Should have used a little bit more rudder there. Very low airspeed again. It's a trending thing over here, right? When you are at very low speed, especially with the AOA limiter off, you don't control too much of the nose, so it's very hard. But you can see that they are very much on par with each other. They can turn very well. Maybe if you tried to go to wobbly nose again, if you try to go to kind of a rate fight, he would be able to get me. But I don't know, I have a feeling that F-18 turns so much that he will not even care, right? Again, I'm trying to do the same thing as before, try to just have the nose on, but as you see, the aircraft stalls it out, too slow to do anything, and then because of that, kind of the energy trap works, and he's on my 6. I'm basically dead over here. He fires an AIM-9. I tried to do anything that I could with his low energy, but the missile got me. So F-16A is a deadly opponent, but it can be beaten, which is something that you normally don't see. The F-16A is and was one of the best aircraft in turning in the game before the update, right? So yeah, very interesting, right? Again, we go against the Mirage 2000 over here. I'm trying to do the same type of maneuver, trying to maintain the, you know, the inside of his circle, so that I can try to make him, you know, overshoot a little bit, so that I can get to his tail, as always, using sometimes the AOA limiter like this to try to get a shot out. But I mean, it doesn't work very well. We are trying to have fun over here. Remember always that we're not doing a very serious dogfight. We're just trying to see what are the capabilities of these aircraft. I noticed that if I went upwards again, losing all of that energy, I would be dead. So I try to go upwards, but having a little bit more energy, which is a mistake. I should have done this. These could make me die very quickly, as you see. It was kind of lucky that I didn't die there. So it's something that you have to worry. Although the F-18 can pull a lot of AOA with the nose authority button there, like the AOA limiter off, still you lose so much energy doing any type of maneuver that if the target wants to try to energy trap you, you're dead. And see, I mean, I did the same mistake again, of trying to go on a head-on, just because I was kind of dead already because the energy trapped me. So I tried to go for a head-on, but it didn't work, right? Again, you know, it's where the F-18 is kind of dying always when you try to basically go together with a head-on with the target that it's trying to do an energy trap onto you, which is something very common to happen, right? Again, with the Yak 141 over here, I kind of found kind of a nemesis to the F-18 over here. They were very similar in feeling, although the Yak doesn't have the AOA limiter button. You will see that although I can get him very easily, they turn very similar to each other, especially vertically, right? So it's kind of funny how much it is close. See this? I mean, he could have killed me, but I kind of threw him off a little bit with the shots there. He tried to shoot an R-60 on me, so you know, it's just very, very similar how much these aircraft turn to each other, you know. So yeah, again, I mean, I'm sorry about this. I wasn't supposed to do this. I mean, look at this. Of course I'm gonna die. Like, the aircraft was wobbling around and stalling it out. I should not do that. But the thing is, I have a feeling that these aircraft, if you don't control the energy well enough, you know, it's an aircraft that will lose a lot of energy, and it will just kind of die in the air. So you gotta be really, really careful when using the button, of course, as always, but also, guys, when flying this thing, be careful. You're gonna stall it out a lot if you're not careful. It loses a lot of energy, and it's very easy to energy trap you if you don't have the skill or is used to this aircraft, like I am not over here, right? We kill each other in a head-on over here, which is kind of a luck thing. I mean, kind of not. I'm still alive, but you get it, right? So at the end of the day, guys, you can see that it is the same as the F-18C in the terms of how the aircraft feels like. It loses a lot of energy, but it can do what other aircraft cannot do. I'm still getting the hang of it. It is a very different aircraft to fly to anything else in a dogfight, so bear with me. And of course, remember, we were just having fun for like 6 hours just doing dogfights and stuff. So of course, in these ones, I was already really tired and doing a lot of mistakes, but still, it's an aircraft that it's lighter than F-18C. It feels better, it can turn better, and in a general sense, it loses more energy as well because it doesn't have the extra power, right? So at the end of the day, it is an aircraft that can beat basically every single aircraft in the game if you know what you're doing in a dogfight. Of course, you gotta think a little bit about stuff because you should not waste all of your energy in one turn. You know, just be careful with energy traps with this thing. It's very easy to energy trap this thing if you're not careful, because you are gonna be losing so much energy that he just keeps needing to just go upwards. Eventually, if you're not careful, you're gonna lose so much energy that you either gonna go for a head-on shot, which you're gonna die, or you're gonna go away trying to regain speed, allowing him to fire a missile on you. When it's a missile that doesn't have IRCCM, it's fine, but if you face, and you will face, R-73s and AIM-9Ms, that's a kill, right? So just be careful flying this thing, because it is an aircraft that is amazing in a dogfight, but it needs skill. Just like the Su-30SM, to be honest, because of the button, you know. It's something that before you didn't have this tool. Now we have this tool, and we need to get used to it, because if you don't, you're gonna get killed every single time against an aircraft that it's not using, because you can overuse it or underuse it, and then it's complicated, right? If you use it correctly, this aircraft can beat an aircraft that turns more than you because of the button. So you just have to learn how to use it. I'm not saying I did, I'm still getting the hang of it, but you get the idea, right? So go out there and play with the F-18A. It's an amazing aircraft. It really is. The A is probably the most fun you can have in an F-18 right now. But yeah, I see you guys on the next one. Make sure to subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment, and bye guys, see ya.